So this has been bothering me for like the last 10 years because I remember I did a school presentation on Chad Kroeger and Nickelback when I was 13 years old in 2013, and I found out that some of their earlier lyrics were quite disturbing, and they do also repeat the same disturbing ideas, so I want to show you them. And I'm sorry if it's going a little fast. Um, Yeah, this is the first one called. This is about killing a woman. Um, yeah, she won't get much older, and she told the mom of the victim that he killed her because he was probably jealous. And and the next one is again about murder. You can pause to read. Um, he is planning to self-harm. Her broken bones, her head won't lift. A decade since you've been gone. This is about murder and torture as well. And the next one, again about murder and suicide and self-harm and what it's like to be convicted of murder, like it's not your gun and bloody hands. Um, I've crawled eternity to beg forgiveness. God as my witness, I'm a conspired liar. And the next one is again about murder and my fault for not running. I just rest too tempting cause your heart's fucking empty. And this is the first thought I have about him really seeming like a sex offender. And like, if you are aware of the newer songs of Nickelback, there are many songs that are extremely sexist, and this is the first song that is really victim blaming a woman for being raped and probably killed. Yeah. Before he died, he could have sworn, I'm sorry that you've gone. Again, I assume it's about murder. But it's rather tame. And this one again, she's old enough, she knows enough, and again, someone is thinking about murdering a woman because of jealousy, or raping her, or doing some other vile thing to her. Yeah. The things that keep me alive aren't living anymore. And this is a newer song. The next contestant is from 2011, I believe, and it's one of those extremely sexist songs. Is that your hand on my girlfriend? I wish you do it again. I would kill you about. So this woman is a sex worker. And again, you bleed much better than I bleed. You stand where a hole should, running through the deep, going to find the backwoods. I found out all day long who will be the big man giving some. Yeah. All men with stars upon their chests, save yourself. I believe this one is about the Holocaust or the Third Reich, but I'm not so sure because it doesn't really fit their theme, but I assume so. Yeah, because of the mention of the star and the work. And if you click through the first 2 or 3 albums, you can find that pretty much all of their songs are like that. Hands and feet bound and unsteady in the hell that I'm grieving. Don't use grandfather as the bait. And again, murder. See it all, watch it burn. And you know that even in Photograph there is a mention of an arcade being burned down. Chad Kroeger seems to be obsessed with the idea of burning something down and with the idea of murdering a woman for sex crimes. And this is also really crazy. It's from Silver Side Up. Again, he wants to kill someone because he was looking at his girlfriend. So I'm sorry, this was a bit fast. I tried to record this video several times and it didn't really work out, so I have to re-record this for the third time and it's not in line. But this has really been bothering me for the last 10 years, because you see that there is a theme. It's a Chad Kroeger seems to have been obsessed with the thought of committing a sex crime to murder either a man or his girlfriend because of jealousy, and playing around with her bones or her corpse. And um, there are several mentions of the body being in a lake or in a water, and her being killed with knives or guns, and him running through the woods or through a dirt road. And yeah, I'm sorry it was a bit fast, but apparently two of those songs are about him witnessing crimes. One of them is about one of his friends who killed his girlfriend on a dirt road, and another one of the early songs is about one of his friends committing a crime and then dying in prison at 18 years old from trying to inject himself with drugs. And I believe that there is some truth to that, because even then in 2013, when I did a really deep dive on that, I found out that the childhood of Chad and his brother Mike, who is also in the band, was really hard. They were probably abused very badly. There was physical violence and from the boyfriends of the mom, and Chad Kroeger started to commit crimes when he was 13 years old. Apparently he started stealing cars and trucks when he was 13. I don't know why. But apparently he did that, and he was also big into drugs, and he was sent to a detention center or whatever that is called in Canada when he was 13, and he didn't really get better until he was a young adult, when his stepfather gave him the money to fund this band. And apparently Chad Kroeger has committed several crimes that he did also not get commit for, and the repeated mentions of something burned down, so there is an assumption that he did also burn something down in his hometown, and this is why this is also mentioned in Photograph, as far as I know, because yeah, that was like a prank thing to do for him. And I believe that he has seen some pretty sketchy things, but what has surprised me so much about this is that people seem to have forgotten about this altogether, because I mean, Nickelback is one of the most famous rock bands nowadays that there is. They're still active, they have yeah, very big hits, and nobody seems to have taken a look at the earlier albums and how disturbing they are, because what I've shown you is just like the tip of the iceberg. Pretty much all of the early albums have yeah, they are about those crimes, and I did not really take a look at every word because of bad editing on my side, but really there are so many clues. And what really gets me about this is the repetition of the woman body in the lake or in the river. And already back then that made me wonder if there was some truth to that, because yeah, it seems so weird to me. Like, why would you make songs like this, and why would you make an entire album dedicated to murdering a woman and seeming like a sex offender, and then you would just stop doing those songs? I mean, some of the songs on Dark Horse and the songs like New Contestant, which is on the album where Far Away is also, and If Everyone Cared is on the same album, I think. A few, like some of the newer songs are very sexist, and they are about women in the sex business who are selling their bodies, and he is taking advantage of them, or he is trying to coerce women into having sex with him. I think that song is called Everything I Wanna Do, and it's on the album Here and Now from 2011, where he's trying to coerce a woman into sex acts. And there are several songs like that where you could really say, wow, that's pretty fucking weird. But the earlier songs are much worse, I believe, and it is also, yeah, I mean, I would really like to know the context or an explanation why he did those albums, but I don't think we will ever see that. yeah, and I really wanted to show you that because it has been bothering me for the last decade, and I really am still looking out for the explanation, but there probably won't be one ever. But it's really interesting. And on the, I didn't cover the album where I think it's called The Long Road, where some days on, and there are songs like that as well. So there are really a lot about them, and they all do have this repetition, this motive of yeah, what I explained, just being a disgusting man killing a woman of jealousy and for sexual reasons. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? You can write it in the comments. Yeah, and a rather more disturbing find that I discovered on Google Groups a few years ago. This is a post about a man called Reinhard complaining about cannibals in his online forum. He claims that throughout the last month, more and more people have used his forum to look for people to eat, and he has discovered more than 100 cannibal groups and chats, and he is quite disturbed by the fact that some people are explicitly looking for children to eat. And you can see someone in the comments called Horse, and he has a photo, and I have discovered his website, and there is a comment by Carsten. I will show you Horst later. And Carsten claims that people do eat animals and like sheep and pigs, and he doesn't see a difference between eating humans and livestock for whatever reason. And I think that some of those people are trolls, but this Horst seems to be serious, because I mean, he apparently uses his real name on these websites, and he does also have a picture on there. I discovered Horst on another website, and there he claims that he is 56 years old and 170 centimeters tall. He has 85 kilograms, and he's having the extreme urge to be slaughtered by a man, and he is looking for someone who has the same urge to slaughter him and to eat him. And he is aware of the fact that he wouldn't be aware of how he will be slaughtered because he will be dead then, but he wants to know about the receipts his meat will be used for, and he wants to have those receipts mailed to him, and he wants to be in contact with other cannibals. And there is a real Gmail address. This post is 4 years old, and Horst does have an Instagram account which is quite disturbing. It's about cannibalism and receipts for eating people, and there are photos of him, and he's calling himself a long pig, and there's a Gmail address in this same picture of him. Yeah, I don't know why, and he's looking for someone to eat him. And I googled the name, and apparently this person is an architect in a random German city, but I don't know if that's true. Probably not, just someone with the same name, but the picture really threw me off, and I would really like to know what the backstory of this is. Like, where does this picture come from? Is this a real person? But I didn't really find much about it. And on his Instagram, he follows a lot of random people and some cannibal pages with no entries. So I thought maybe this is someone really, really trolling Horst, or using the picture of someone else to troll someone, because there are so many random pages that he follows. But maybe that's just people who he thinks that are attractive. I don't know. I would really like to know the origins, but I sadly haven't found out. Maybe you have seen this person somewhere, or you know about the cannibal groups in the ClearNet, because I think I forgot to mention that the claim of Reinhardt was about the same forum that this long pig post was made in. So Horst seems to have been terrorizing this forum for quite a while now. But through Google you can only find these posts because they were probably created a few years ago. And yeah, it is really interesting to know that those cannibal groups exist, because as you know, I mean, Maivis was a German as well, and he was probably active in those groups as well, but we can't really know for sure. Maybe Reinhard is also lying, or people have just told him things that aren't true, and he's now panicking about his forum being shut down because of trolls, but we can't really know for sure. It would be quite interesting to know, and it's also quite disturbing to think that someone would post these fantasies with a real picture of them, because you can imagine that if someone would be really out there being crazy, someone would maybe Horst would gain attention, and he would become a victim of some crazy murderer. But apparently that's the goal. Maybe it's not just a fantasy, maybe that's Horst's real deep innate desire. We can't know, but it's quite disturbing, to say at least. The first find is rather tame but still disturbing. It is a documentary that was done in the late 90s, early 2000s, and it's about women and their feeder boyfriends, and it's not really about the king. It's really criticizing the men, and you can see this couple, and Mark, who is the feeder boyfriend, is very obviously criticized by the documentary makers for going against his wife's wishes. He wants his wife to be immobile. He wants her to be so fat that she is completely dependent on him. His fetish is more important to him than her health and everything else. And throughout the documentary, he's seen being coercive to his girlfriend, and in the end of the documentary you can see that he's even building a house that is designed for when she will gain a lot of weight again. And he is openly talking about the fact that he is extremely attracted to immobile women, and that he just thinks she should become as big as possible. And in the documentary there are also other women shown, and they have been the victim of feeder boyfriends without their knowledge. I think one of them was a sex worker, and she sold those pictures until she had severe health issues. And another one had a feeder boyfriend, and she became dependent on her mom when he left her, because she was so impacted by her huge weight. And this feeder boyfriend, Mark, is just really ignoring all the health concerns. He just is proud of showing the photos of his almost immobile girlfriend, and he describes it as a fantasy that she is so big she cannot move anymore, she cannot fit inside the hallway, or she has troubles to hold her own breasts, and she is completely dependent on him, and he thinks that is absolutely great. And the mom of the girl who was left by her feeder boyfriend does also talk about the fact that those feeder boyfriends are to be criticized because they are into that, and they disregard the well-being of the women. And I think nowadays a documentary like this would not be shown, because you can see like the new scenes and everything, and people are today more like, well, you don't kink shame and everything, but it is very clear when watching this documentary that Mark is an abuser to some sort, and also those other feeder boyfriends are just narcissists who like it when women are dependent on them so they can't run away. And I was really shocked when I first saw this documentary like 7 or 6 years ago, and it's quite disturbing to someone who has never seen anything about the feeder fetish except maybe some memes, because it is truly disturbing how the men like Mark would rather have their girlfriends die than lose weight. And he does also talk about the fact that one girlfriend of him broke up with him, so they broke up when she lost weight, because Mark said he could never accept a thin woman, and she did not want to be fat anymore, and this is why they split up. So Mark is absolutely serious on this. I think Mark is a potentially dangerous person to his girlfriend, but yeah, in the end of the documentary, you can see him building this house for her, and where he says, yeah, you can become as large as you have been. Again, this house, it is designed for an extremely large person, and he is shown with a video camera describing all of those features for extremely fat people that he has designed into this house, and he is very cheerful and happy about this. But yeah, we have seen that his girlfriend does not want to be this big again, but he disregards that because he wants to, and probably, I'm not sure, that there's no follow-up, I believe, and this documentary is very old. I would really like to know what came of them, but probably nothing good. Something that is more sad and disturbing, but I still wanted to show regardless because it seems really off to me, is this website that was created by the Ukrainian government. It has over 1,200 pages of children who are looking for an adoption. The children are listed like in a pet shelter would do it with their dogs, and you can even select the age and gender and region of the children and whether they have special needs or siblings. And most of those children are only available to be adopted in the Ukraine, but most of the children who have disabilities can be adopted everywhere. But some of the settings on the website are wrong, I believe. I've discovered this website once when I was watching a documentary about Western Europeans who are looking to adopt children from the Ukraine. And I think this is so sad, because if you have a look at the picture of the children, you would want to adopt every single one of them, but of course you can't. It is super sad to me to look at this website and to imagine all of those children who are like sitting in an orphanage or another group home looking for parents to care for them. Some of them are already 17 years old, so I'm not sure if they are all looking for a family to live in or if that has another reason. There is not really context given. There is also no description of the children. There are just those photos, age, whether they have siblings or special needs, which raises a lot of questions to me, because I am wondering why you would choose a child to adopt based on the picture. Like, if you want to adopt a young baby, why would you need a photo to decide? I think this is super weird, and it would probably be illegal in most countries, but the Ukrainian government is probably really desperate to get these children adopted. And this website has been there even before the war. I first discovered this 5 or 6 years ago, and it was mostly the same children, which is just adding another sad fact. Yeah, it's disturbing to say the least, and it's sad, and you can't help them even if you want to. I don't know what else to say. It's quite something that probably wouldn't fly in other countries, because like, if you have a look at these photos, I can't imagine someone deciding to adopt a child based on these photos, but apparently that's the reasoning behind that.